The Simpsons have decades of stories, and with so many seasons, you're gonna tread over a common ground more than once. One plot The Simpsons likes to dive into, happening as early as season 4 and maybe earlier, is giving love interest to The Simpsons' children. Bart and Lisa have had multiple love interests over the years. These relationships range from amazing and healthy down to toxic waste levels of awful. And today, we'll be discussing Bart's relationships. Hey guys, I'm Brad with Wicked Binge, and this is Bart Simpson Romantic Relationships, Healthy to Toxic. We're gonna start with the best of the best and move down. These are the healthy. Starting off our list, the gold medal of healthiness goes to Bart and Mary Spuckler. Mary is Bart's major love interest, appearing in 3 major roles and a multitude of cameos. She and Bart first meet in season 19's Apocalypse Cow, where she helps Bart in caring for his cow, Lou. And to save Lou from a slaughterhouse, Bart takes Lou to Mary. This leads to Bart being forced to marry her due to the law of the hill folk, although they call off the wedding.
All right, sir. I'll marry your daughter.
However, Bart and Mary are quite good together as they share some interest and are obviously interested in each other to some degree. However, in her most recent major appearance, Bart and Mary really start dating, but Bart starts to ignore her and neglect her. It's because he's a 10-year-old boy, it's to be expected from him. Bart does really care about Mary and even tries to get back together with her at the end of the episode, but we never see where this leads. Sure, Bart is not the best in relationships, but they are the closest it gets to perfect in Bart's repertoire. Taking the silver medal is Bart and Laura Powers. Laura is Bart's earliest romantic interest, appearing in season 4's New Kid on the Block, where she was babysitting Bart and Lisa. Now Laura is a bit older than Bart, and this is really a one-sided crush for the most part. Laura is attracted to bad boys like Jimbo, and this does make Bart feel like his heart was destroyed when he found out. Yes, Bart does cause Moe to come over in a rage and nearly kill Jimbo, but we're not accounting for that just right now. The thing is, Laura does say that if Bart were older, maybe they would date, which shows that despite what may be a bit of attraction on her part, she has a standard not to date a 10-year-old boy.
If you were only old enough to grow a bad teenage mustache.
They rank this high because they don't have a lot of stuff to go over, but Laura is a good person and a much better, older girl for Bart, as we'll see later. The bronze medal of healthiness goes to Bart and Sherry Terry. Now we say Sherry/Terry because it's unclear which of the two he's most romantically involved with. In season 12's Hungry Hungry Homer, he goes to a dance with one of them, and the two are mentioned to have been together by Homer at one point.
Well, Bart's not so bad.
Even in the admittedly non-canon Barthood, he's seen making out with one of them. The problem is that even though this relationship is mentioned repeatedly, including one of the twins having a crush on Bart, they're not really fully together, so we have to give them bronze because there's nothing toxic about these relationships, but they're not full ones either. Rounding out the good section is Bart and Gina Vendetti. Bart and Gina get together in season 15's The Wandering Juvie, when the two of them are both in juvenile detention. They are essentially forced together because of a juvie dance that is supposed to introduce the boys to the girls. They both escape juvie, and Bart, being a 10-year-old, doesn't understand her few advances. Bart and her split up after a kiss, and their handcuffs are broken, and it's revealed that Gina doesn't have a family to go to.
They're imaginary, like your brain.
Bart tries to cheer her up, and in the end, Gina takes the fall for him, even if he didn't ask her to. They seem to end on a good note, but when she appears later in season 24's Moonshine River, she punches Bart in the face. So it's unknown exactly how she feels about him. They were forced together, and they land here in the end because while she doesn't seem to not like him anymore, she did sacrifice her freedom for him. With the best out of the way, we can now move on down to a slightly worse section of the list. This is the gray area. Starting off the gray section, we have Bart and Nikki McKenna. Bart meets Nikki McKenna in the season 21 episode Stealing First Base. Bart flirts with her and tries to get with her, although at first she seems disgusted with him. Nikki's whole thing is that she's hot and cold with Bart, at one moment kissing him and the next screaming in disgust.
Oh my god, and that was my first kiss!
Nikki mostly confuses and annoys Bart. She does save his life with CPR and continues to flip-flop between hating and loving him in Moonshine River, showing she may have some bipolar issues. Nikki, as we said, did save Bart's life, which stops them from falling any further, but the two are a very weird case. Next, we have Bart and Greta Wolfcastle. Bart and Greta initially get together in the season 13 episode The Bart Wants What It Wants, when Bart saves her from being bullied. Bart pretty much ignored her during their relationship, calling her too needy, leading to the two breaking up and then Bart trying to get her back.
Please be my girlfriend again.
They don't date for very long, but Bart and Milhouse end up making Greta not want to date for a while. It's no surprise they land in the gray because they are very obviously not very good together. Next, we have Bart and Jenny. Bart meets Jenny while at the Springfield retirement castle and tries to date her. But upon realizing that she was a really nice person, he tries to convince her that he's also a good person.
If those ducklings understood how magnificent you were.
He does well in tricking her, but Milhouse reveals his true state, causing them to break up. The problem here is that Bart tries to trick Jenny into dating him, which is a really toxic thing. However, there is so much worse to be talked about, so they can't rank lower. Rounding out the gray section, we have Bart and Melanie Juniper. This is another short-lived relationship from the season 22 episode, Flaming Moe. Bart starts dating Melody not out of his own volition, but is forced to by Principal Seymour Skinner. This is because Skinner wanted to date Melody's mother, which did work out in his favor. However, this leads to a relationship that is little more than a ploy for a different relationship, and Bart ends it swiftly.
I see you as more of a sister.
But at the very least, it isn't abusive, so we won't rank it lower. Now we can talk about the bottom of the barrel. These are the toxic. Starting off the toxic section, we have Bart and Darcy. Darcy's first and only major appearance is in season 18's Little Big Girl. When Bart gets the ability to drive a car again, he ends up meeting Darcy and lying about his age. He definitely seems to care for Darcy, but Darcy only really dates him because she feels the need for someone to raise her child. She instantly uses his car and supposed age to do so, even forcing him to drive to a state so they can get married, even after she finds out his real age.
It's just, I'm only 10 years old.
This is another relationship built on lies, and Darcy is a bit abusive, such as what happens with the strawberry situation. She's also amongst the exes that appear in Moonshine River that slam the door in his face, showing they're not that good of a combination. The next relationship is between Bart and Annika Van Houten. Annika and Bart meet in season 26, Let's Go Fly a Coot. This is another situation where it's mostly a one-sided crush from Bart's perspective, as Annika is much older than him and is also the cousin of his friend Milhouse. Annika doesn't seem to care too much about him and even starts to get him to smoke, which is bad for him and his health. At the end of the episode, Bart reveals he doesn't like her anymore because of her personality, which offends her, but she is sent back to the Netherlands.
I'm really relieved you're leaving.
The fact that this isn't a real relationship is what stops them from falling lower, but they're pretty close to the bottom. The bronze medal of toxicity goes to Bart and Jinda. This is the only relationship we'll be talking about regarding the future episodes of The Simpsons, as it's the only known Bart future relationship, although you can count Sherry, Terry, and Barthood. Jinda first appears in the season 16 episode Future Drama as Bart's then girlfriend in high school, going to the dance together. Bart and Jinda have an on and off relationship throughout the multitude of future episodes. She breaks up with him in Future Drama because he decides to give up his scholarship to Lisa. She gives him ultimatums, and although they get back together and have children, she divorces him. However, we do have to give her this. She tries her best to keep Bart in their children's lives, despite how bad their relationship is, and she tries her best to be a good person in their interactions. They only grab bronze because it's obvious they're bad for each other and shouldn't be together, but they seem to get along well enough. Stealing the silver medal of toxicity are Bart and Shauna Chalmers. Shauna has been a recurring character on the show since surprisingly late in the show's run, first appearing in season 20's The Good, the Sad, and the Drugly. However, the episode we'll be focusing on is season 23's Beware My Cheating Bart, where Jimbo hires Bart to chaperone Shauna while Jimbo does stuff without her. Shauna falls for Bart after he stands up to protect her. Bart convinces Shauna to leave Jimbo because he doesn't respect her, and she flashes her chest to him, which is sort of illegal. Lisa, the smart one, actually forces them to split up because it was the best for everyone, especially considering the age gap. Shauna and Bart do kiss once more later on in the season 25 episode, What to Expect When Bart's Expecting, which shows the two actually having a decent relationship still, which stops them from falling lower. Considering their age gap, the illegal actions on Shauna's part, and the slightly coercive circumstances, we have to rank them here. The gold medal of toxicity goes to Bart and Jessica Lovejoy, Bart's earliest real relationship. Jessica's first and only real major appearance is season 6 Bart's Girlfriend, where she's the titular character and antagonist. Jessica is the daughter of Reverend Lovejoy and is supposedly a perfect angel. However, it becomes obvious that this isn't the case, because not only is she attracted to Bart's bad boy persona, and Jessica is just as bad.
You're bad, and I like it.
At first, it seems like this would make them have a very good relationship, But then Jessica frames Bart for a crime she committed. She then uses her status as a perfect angel and Bart as a bad boy to frame him. This causes Bart to lose interest in her and then tries to frame her in response. However, two wrongs don't make a right, and these two are really bad for each other, hence their gold medal ranking. But don't leave yet, because we do have some sinner medals to hand out. Taking our Darwin medal is Bart and Melody, who were forced together, and Skinner should have seen this coming. Our Lust medal goes to Bart and Shauna, with one of the biggest moments being that she flashed her chest at him. Obvious, Bart and Laura take our Envy medal, because Bart is obviously envious of Jimbo for being able to date Laura. The Sloth medal goes to Bart and Annika, because all Annika really does is lounge around and use Bart to buy cigarettes and e-cigarettes. Taking our Pride medal is Bart and Jessica, but mostly Jessica, who uses her status to frame Bart, which takes a lot of pride. And finally, our Wrath medal goes to Bart and Darcy, where we only really need one word to explain this: strawberries. And that's it, guys. Let us know in the comment section if you agree with our ranking, and tell us what we should cover next. Remember to hit that notification bell and binge more of our videos. But most importantly, stay wicked.